Well. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Wow, 12 in already. That's excellent. They Low Light Ohio. Nice to see you in. Amanda Young, 1Virgo7, etc. etc. Right, let me just mute that. So I've got the watch page open, so everything is good to go. So, in case you hadn't noticed, we have a regular globe troll who is named of Where's Wally. Now then, I have had a couple of streams about him recently, and as per usual, he's up to his tricks yet again. So, Matrix Media, nice to see you in. Red Eye Jedi, nice to see you in too. So, on screen right now, we have two images. On the left hand side, we have a llama, and on the right hand side we have a camel. Now then, although they may both eat grass and they may look similar with a similar neck, they are two totally different animals. Here you can see, for instance, this camel has two pronounced humps on its back, indicating that it is not a llama, and a llama doesn't have these humps on its back, indicating that it is not a camel. Now, for anybody with eyes, this is pretty easy stuff to understand. You know, a llama isn't a camel, camel isn't a llama, a dog isn't a cat, and a cat isn't a dog, a rat isn't a mouse, and a mouse isn't a rat. It's dead easy to understand this. Okay, so let's get into this. So here we have Where's Wally with his 581 views and yet again tagging me in the name of his video with 123 likes to 2 dislikes. Wow. I mean, the likes to dislikes ratio from this guy is incredibly high. Anyone would think he may have 100 socks of his own, but that's just suggestion, who knows. Anyway, what we have here is Where's Wally trying to justify the idea that this boat on the left here, let me put it on a big screen for you guys to see, trying to justify that this boat on the left, the Delsa, is loomed up by Earth curve from beyond the Earth curve, and you can prove that because on a different day, the Port Osaka was seen here in this state, apparently, under normal refraction conditions, with the hull obscured completely. Now, what he's trying to indicate here is that there is the hard horizon, there is the boat, this is the Port Osaka, and this is it hidden. Now, as I alluded to before, the Port Osaka is not the Delsa. The Delsa is not the Port Osaka. Trying to compare these two images is like trying to compare a camel and a llama. It's not going to happen, right? You're never going to get the same result. So first and foremost, I want to point that out, that what he's trying to do is he's trying to hoodwink his audience by saying the boat on the left, look at this image compared to the boat on the right, and look at all this hull missing. Right, well, is the hull missing? That is the question. Yes, you cannot see the hull, but does that mean that it isn't hidden by an atmospheric blockage? Now then, in Harry Baird's video, he's very clear and he zooms in very neatly on this particular boat. I might get to a point in that in the video, and show you where this Inferior Mirage is on the boat. Now, if you can't actually see it on here already, I mean, you can already see it. I will get to this and I will play it. I will play the parts where this is an Inferior Mirage. So, before we get into this analysis of this boat to see whether or not this boat is hidden by Earth curve or an optical effect, we first need to understand what an Inferior Mirage does. So, let's have a look at Floatyland. Here we have Floatyland, the same observation from the same height with the same tide heights on both days, except on one of these days we had an Inferior Mirage, on another day we had just a clear line of sight. Here you can see the tower in the distance, The only reason that you can't see the bottom of this land here is because of the Inferior Mirage. And you might say, oh well, this is just a one-off, this doesn't happen all the time. Well, sadly for Where's Wally, who seems to be still using 2015 data, most of the Globers now agree that this optical effect is actually a real thing and does obscure things from the bottom up. This can also be demonstrated quite clearly with this other image called angle boat. Now, in this particular image, we have two boats in the same image. We have a small boat in the foreground in this white image here, and behind it we have a tanker, which is further away and obviously a much bigger boat. But what you see here is hidden. It is not visible. Now, is it not visible because of Earth curvature? Well, let's get into that. Let's put some lines in here so that we can all work from the same hymn sheet. And we're going to put a line through this boat in the foreground to see where its inferior mirage appears in the image. And as you can see, if I put that line in there, we have a very clear mirror image of the top and the bottom. So you can definitely see where that inferior mirage hits this boat. Now, if this was Earth curve, everything beyond that would also be on this line. This line here would be the point where everything has this inferior mirage on. But that isn't the case with the boat in the background, is it? Because in the background, we have this inferior mirage on the boat, which is here. Thus proving that the inferior mirage itself is not where the Earth curve starts, but where the optical effect of this optical blockage actually happens. It's a well-known demonstrated fact by flat earthers and now with globe earthers on board with this phenomena. The inferior mirage hides the bottom of stuff. Right, going back to Where's Wally and his two separate boats, one of the camel and one of the llama. Not really, but you get the idea. Let me show you the 2 points of this video. All right, so here is the Porter Sarker, and if we go to the video where he took this imagery from, which was a fresh look at truth, what we can see is if we stop the video at 3:14, Harry's kind enough to show us the boat in its entirety from hull to top in this particular image. Now, I've taken a screenshot of that, and I've also taken a screenshot of the image which he uses in his video of this boat apparently hidden by Earth curvature. So let's take a closer look and see if that is actually the case. So here we have the boat in its entirety. Let me crop some of this out. Shall I crop this out or shall I crop the other one out? Well, I'll adjust this first and I'll change the colour and contrast on it so that we can see it a little bit better. There we go. So there's the boat that's apparently hidden by Earth curvature. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crop out the image that's apparently, well, it is, in its entirety, and Harry actually does references this image from an image on Wiki2 in his video, which can confirm that this is the boat in its entirety. So let me crop that out, and what we're going to do is we're going to select all that, we're going to copy it, it's heading in the same direction, we're going to paste it in here, and what we're going to try and do, we're going to try and match up some of these stacks. So we need to increase the size of this boat that I've just cropped out. So obviously we need to line up the stack at the front here to the stack at the front there. Then we need to make this a little bit bigger so that it matches up to this side. So let's increase the size of this boat so that they scale the same to the width. There we go. And that's not too far off, maybe a tad more. And let's just make sure that they line up. So I'm just going to move this up and down a tad just to make sure that the stacks are in the correct position. So let's move the boat across, and now the stack's in the correct position, and hopefully it still needs a bit bigger, so you're just going to have to bear with me, guys, because I'm doing this on the fly because I already can pretty much judge exactly what's going to happen here. So here we have the stack matching up at the front, pretty much. Now we're going to go to the stack to the end and see whether or not that matches up too. And as you can see, that matches up too. So now we have a scaled boat. So the boat is now scaled from front to back judging by the stacks. And now we're going to drag this across because this is the same boat we're using. We're not using a llama and a camel here. We're using the same boat. And now we have it side by side. The only thing left to do now is to put a line in and see whether or not we have anything hidden or we have an optical Inferior Mirage blockage, which is clearly evident here. You can actually see the Inferior Mirage. If I zoom in, you can see where the Inferior Mirage is there, and it is there. You can see it throughout the boat. Anyway, let's go back to the scaled image, which I've just put up, and we're going to put a line in from the top of the stack at the front there, and we're going to zoom it over to the top of the stack on the front of this boat here. And what we're going to do, we're going to now drag this down, not changing its line, and we're just going to see whether it matches up to the perceived hard horizon. And what do you know? What do you know? It's an absolute identical distance from the top of the stack, which is out of that crappy air, out of the Inferior Mirage, so we're actually seeing to the top of the boat, and we're dragging it down to the hard horizon, and it's a perfect match. So what this is demonstrating here is that the Inferior Mirage on this boat, which runs through this image there, the bottom of the boat, the hull, the darker area, all this dark stuff of the boat is hidden behind the Inferior Mirage, and that's why we can't see it. It's behind the Inferior Mirage, just like this boat is here, with this boat in the distance being behind an Inferior Mirage, and just like floaty land here, where this land is behind the Inferior Mirage too. It is exactly the same. It is an optical effect, and when you use the right boats and you scale it correctly, you realize that nothing is hidden of this boat at all. It is still all there. It is just not able to be seen because it's behind an Inferior Mirage. Harry Baird, where's Wally? You fail. Right, okay, Ranty, are you watching chat? Well, let's drag chat over. Pop out chat, let's drag chat over, and let's see, let's say hello to a few people. Right, okay. So, let's see, who do we have in? Adam Meakin, nice to see you in, mate, nice to see you in. Clary, Jim R, nice to see you in. Amanda Young, Chai Funk, Skywatcher Footage, Jim R, unless you take a basic science class, no idea what that means. Sharpie Quartz, Sleeping Warrior, deny is all the ballers can do. Fuck all nonsense. Well, listen, it is kind of below my pay grade to actually just address this guy, but he keeps tagging me in these videos, and it's rather frustrating that they just default immediately to Earth curvature when just a simple test like this can demonstrate that all the boat should still be visible had it not been for this Inferior Mirage. It's as simple as that. They don't understand optics. It's very, very frustrating. Ryan Q Vincent, I watched your destruction of Ruhif earlier today. It was very good and interesting. Thank you very much. You need to remember the term Fata Bramosa. I already do, my friend. I already do. Jazima, nice to see you in. Jockey Mokilo, nice to see you in. Daylight Ohio, I've already said hello to you before, my friend. Chris UK says it's impressive, Ranty, and Soundly's Banana Cam, nice to see you in. Yes, thank you very much. Right, okay, so yeah, so pretty easy, guys. It didn't take me long. I watched this video. He produces no science in his video. As I say, he actually produces two boats that aren't the same boats in his video up here. He uses two separate boats, one called the Delsa and one called the Porto Sarka. And, you know, my immediate response was, well, why didn't you use the same boat? Oh, well, we don't have the same boat to actually compare, so we're going to compare apples and pears or bananas and pears. You know, no, try and compare the same thing, because when you compare the same thing like this, like I do, when you go to floaty land and you compare the same thing, you can understand that on certain days you get things like this. an inferior mirage that causes the bottom of things to disappear. The truck that is visible clearly in this footage here that's on the sands is not visible in this footage because it's hidden behind an inferior mirage. And this optical effect can hide boats in the distance, and it isn't Earth curvature. Earth curvature is not the cause. It is not the cause, as demonstrated with this particular image here. So a very quick, very brutal destruction of this Where's Wally. He keeps trying. I don't know whether I should even respond to him anymore. It's getting very embarrassing for him and his ilk. I think he only did the video because I destroyed Ruhif so badly in our debate. And he's still trying to claim that this can be proof that this is loomed beyond Earth curvature. No, the boat is just hidden behind the inferior mirage, my friend. It's very, very simple. Very simple stuff to understand. Once you understand optics, it doesn't take a lot. He doesn't go out and he does his own stuff. He just goes on Harry Baird's channel. And I feel sorry for Harry Baird too, because he actually does some good stuff over there. I'll shout out his channel actually, guys. Because he's changed the name of his channel. It's now called A Fresh Look at Truth. He is a flat earther and he does these observations all the time. He actually has got the gist of this stuff now. In this particular video, which is the one that Where's Wally's referencing, he actually gets into the details of what's actually going on in the video, and he explains these inferior mirages. Let's see if I can find a little portion of where he actually explains all this. Come on, just bear with me, guys. So yeah, so on this particular image here, you can clearly see the inferior mirage running right through the middle of this boat. It is very, very evident in this. Harry's also explaining it too. So it's already been put out there. This information's been put out to Where's Wally because obviously he makes lots of videos about Harry and his observations. Harry's explaining that this is an inferior mirage, and this Where's Wally is just trolling him, and he seems like he's trolling me now to try and say that this is behind Earth curvature. He's living in the past. He's not living in the current science, the work that's been done over the past couple of years, disproving this idea that this inferior mirage is where Earth curve is and the effects that it has of blocking things out. And if Where's Wally actually listened back to the debate that I had with Ruhif, who he is defending here, he is defending Ruhif, right? Ruhif admits that the inferior mirage is atmospheric blockage. And then Where's Wally goes and puts a bloody video out and says that the boat is hidden. Hidden to Earth curvature. Hidden to Earth curve. You couldn't make this up. Honestly, you could not make this up. Oh, it's hilarious. Right, okay. Right, okay, so Ranty, will you consider this video from 3 minutes and tell me if the same thing is happening? Wow, that's a kind of an on-the-fly one. Right, that's on the fly. I don't know whether I shouldn't do it on this one. Maybe I should do a new live stream. Tony, if you want to join me in 10 or 15 minutes, we can perhaps look at this video. But I want to keep this one concise. I want to, you know, this is just an utter destruction of Where's Wally, so I don't want to kind of like drag it onto something else. So if you're up for that, yeah, I mean, I probably will start this. Let me click that link anyway, so I've got it up ready. Here we go. Oh, it's yours. When was this one? From the 3rd of December 2017. You want me to review a video you did? From how long ago? Really? Oh, Tony. What are you doing to me, mate? Very briefly, very quickly, that would be my... I'm looking at this boat in the distance, and that would be my first thought. My first thought would be that it looks like you're filming from Liverpool, and it looks like it would appear that the water is either out or just starting to come in. You've probably got a little bit of shoaling, which is artificially increasing the height of the water in that location, causing a little bit of blockage, but the majority of that would probably be this inferior mirage that's hiding the bottom of it. That would be that off the top of my head, and that could all just be waffle, and it could all completely wrong because I don't have any context to this. So In answer to your question, it looks like that could be the case, but hey, who knows? Right, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. And yeah, start one again. I'll be there, right? Okay, so it looks like I'll be going again. Guys, I'm going to end this now, so I'll start a new stream in, what, 15 minutes? Tune in, and I'll bring Sleepy on, and we'll have a discussion about this particular observation. In the meantime, guys, thank you everybody for stopping by to see this utter destruction of this clown. Where's Wally? And I'll see you very soon, which will be in the next one.